Today, we're joined by adventure athlete and entrepreneur Andrew Muse. While Andrew has collaborated with major brands like Ford and GoPro and even starred in a Super Bowl commercial, his journey began with nothing. No money, no home, nights spent sleeping in the woods of Hawaii. Through every challenge, he stayed true to a simple yet powerful mantra: work hard, take risks, and be nice to people. In this episode, we dive deep into Andrew's incredible story, discussing how he confronts fear, navigates uncertainty, and turned adversity into a life of purpose, passion, and adventure. Let's get into it. Well, welcome to the show, Andrew. We're so excited for you to join us. We also have another guest right behind you, and that is lovely Kicker.
He's snoozing here.
We've got two good boys.
We've got two good boys.
We know who the best boy is, though. It's Kicker.
Oh,
he's snoozing.
Kicker dog Muse, the golden retriever.
God, he's a very friendly guy. I'm surprised he's not begging for some attention right now.
He gets lots of love. He's sleepy this morning. Took him for a walk, and yeah, he's pretty happy just being a couch dog these days. It's funny.
Can you share some stories how Kicker has not beat up, attack dogs, but abused dogs on the trail just by his athleticism?
Yeah. Kicker's a very friendly dog.
I mean, not
what
yeah.
Scott is alluding to is there's been one hike in particular. My friend had this really beautiful white shepherd, and we start going up, and the dog starts slowing down, and we realize once we get to the top, and this was an overnight stay, that his paws had kind of worn out, and he was just exhausted, and we ended up having to basically carry him off the mountain. And this dog's being 5 hours later, as we are descending, is being carried back to the car. And meanwhile, Kicker has a giant log in his mouth as he's just frolicking around. But yeah, he's been, he was thrown into the mix as a puppy, in the van in Alaska, snowboarding, big mountain lions, is a nugget in my jacket. So he's kind of built for the long days in the mountains. At least he used to be. He's a bit of an older man now, so he's happy hanging out.
Now, you are always traveling all over, like you said, Alaska and all these different mountains. Where are you right now?
I'm in Utah, which I've lived in Utah. It's been my home base for almost 18 years, but I'm considering moving to Washington State. I'm trying to buy some land and get a little cabin thing going on, and yeah, I'm actively looking in that direction.
Really? Now, what's drawing you to Washington?
This place, so to preface, I'd lived in vehicles for 10 years. I started in a Volkswagen Golf, then an Astrovan, then a $500 truck camper, and then from there it kind of progressed to a 4x4 van, and then I built an Earth Roamer style vehicle. So I had a friend back in Utah. This is maybe diving into too much of the information here, but I had a friend that lived in Draper, Utah, and he has 3 houses, and I would stay with him, and I was just exhausted from travel. And I kind of got to the point of life where I just wanted a home base, tired of renting, tired of feeling like my living situation was insecure. So I ended up buying a place just down the street, which seemed like a great investment property. It's just outside of Salt Lake City, really cool neighborhood, great community, but it's never where I envisioned myself being full-time. It was just sort of a stepping stone or investment, just sort of check the box, get a home. It was a total piece of crap when I bought it. It was a hoarder disaster. It was disgusting.
I thought this was your dream home.
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
This is strictly, it feels great. I love it. It's something that I'm really proud of and I'm happy to have. But ultimately I've always just wanted a cabin in the woods. At this point, some of the cabins we're looking at was we found this crazy 3,000 square foot log home on 20 acres that needed some work, but I was that is amazing. That would be so cool. But that's maybe bigger than I want. But
so you didn't find Mr. Right yet. You're just with Mr. Right now in Utah.
Yeah. The spot we found in Washington was actually pretty perfect. We just waited a little bit too long, and by the time we were ready to put an offer in, there was already an offer on it, and we didn't win. So I was it's haunting me. Yeah.
When you find the right spot, it'll show up.
Yes.
Totally.
I mean, I can remember our first real estate, the very first place we saw in California. The real estate agent was this is, I think, your perfect fit. And we weren't acclimated to like what to expect, and we showed up and we're like, it's a little too small, I don't know. And then we still look back and I was like, if we would have bought that place, like it would have been like, one, the growth like financially would have been different, and it's just like, I don't know. But yeah, you know, you live and learn, and it's real estate is a process. Like it's not simple to just jump in and be like, that's it, buy it. Like it's a big decision.
It's so scary, even if it's something that you really want. As soon as it's under contract, you're like, oh shit, is this actually what I want? Like, you know, and then you go through the process, and a few months later, the shock of it goes away, and you're like, this is actually a ton of work, but pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to little Andrew, if we can. Because I'm curious. You are such a daredevil and adventurer, and I look up to that. And I have like little bits of it, but just a hundredth of what you have.
Let me share. I am, I think, pretty fearless amongst my friends. Like I'll do all the stuff, anything. Well, now that we have kids, slightly different. But Andrew's the one guy who makes me nervous. Like
it still gives you butterflies in your stomach.
That's how adventurous Andrew is. Like just check out his Instagram. He's done some crazy stuff. But
but I'm just curious, where did this adventure come from? Like if you could look back to little Andrew, were you seeking out adventures, you know, when you were back just a little boy in Massachusetts?
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting question to answer, because my childhood wasn't great. I had a pretty rough upbringing, you know, raised by a single mom who had some drinking and drug and mental health issues. And we moved around a lot. But I always liked being in the woods. So I remember that was kind of like a cool escape. I loved building forts. I loved being in the woods, climbing trees, trying to jump from tree to tree, trying to like jump across this waterfall. And sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't. But I just always liked adrenaline, I think. I've kind of always been that guy. I remember in like high school, you know, like climbing like the light post in the parking lot at school or something, and like hanging from it. And I remember some girl being like, of course Andrew did that. You know? Well, I don't know. I've just always liked it. I think I kind of believe in myself physically. I think that's one of the things I'm good at, is kind of like the mind-body connection, and just like baseline being athletic. And being able to kind of like see these weird, creative, maybe kind of dangerous things, and being able to execute them most of the time without horrible repercussions. So I don't know.
I'm sensing that something, and I'm wondering how you feel about it. Do you feel like growing up, you had a sense of safety in adventure? Like I know that sounds crazy because you were seeking other like adventure, adrenaline-filled things. But because of your upbringing and the challenges that you had, do you feel like, okay, I feel a sense of safety when I rely on myself in this capacity, in nature?
Yeah, I think part of it's probably a bit of a distraction too, like being in that like hyper-focused, in the moment flow state, like this has to go this way, seeing it in your mind and then executing it. And there's nothing else, there's no other noise. And I've always just had like a connection with nature. So like combining those two things, I think was sort of, a bit of an escape and a bit of a way to like feel in control, put myself into a flow state, and just like really hyper focus on the task at hand, maybe.
That's awesome. And when we talk about flow state here, I mean, it's not like Andrew's just like going for a hike. Nothing wrong with that. But we're talking about Andrew's heliskiing in Alaska. You are backcountry snowmobiling with Scott.
He's doing
doing wild things.
Oh, thanks.
Like I don't know. I mean, it's on my feed, but like the iconic adrenaline Red Bull shot of like a guy going down a mountain on skis, and all of a sudden he's flying through the air because there's a parachute. What do you call that?
Speed flying.
Speed flying.
Or speed riding.
Speed riding on skis.
Yeah.
Now, this wasn't your shot, but there's one where a guy's literally running from an avalanche off a cliff, and you see his POV of him falling off a cliff, but because he has a parachute, everyth's okay. Yeah, that's the adrenaline-filled life that is Andrew's happy place.
Such a sick shot. It would have been so cool to be in that position, kick off an avalanche while flying, because you're above it. It's pretty safe, you know. Yeah, that shot's amazing, and kind of like the things I like to do for sure.
Now, when you're in these adrenaline junkie situations, do you ever feel fear?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's come a point in certain situations where I regret in the moment. I'm like, what am I doing here? I stepped, I like being just barely across the line of like my comfort zone. That's where it's like the most engaging. But there's been a few times where whether or not it was like there was an actual real tangible danger or I was just like really uncomfortable. I remember it's like episode 1. It's like kind of segment 1 of Tiny Home Adventure, which is a series I started 10 years ago of just traveling with me and my dog. Season 1 is poorly produced. Season 2 is much better. Anyways, the first scene is climbing this climb in Zion called Space Shot, and it's an aid climb, and I had never been aid climbing before. It's basically like, I want to say almost 900 feet of overhanging sandstone, and it gets climbed a lot. And just like the gear placement feels insecure. All the cracks are kind of flaring. It's sandstone, so it's like gritty and sort of brittle. And I was scared shitless for like 16 hours. And by the time we got, halfway up, I was kind of finding comfort in the fact I'm like, well, if we fall, I'm definitely going to die. So that, I think
finding comfort in that.
Finding comfort in that. Okay.
I think the fear of being like, paralyzed or something like that is almost, to me, at this stage, although I've worked with like High Fives Foundation, which helps injured athletes kind of like refine those things that brought them joy as an athlete and post-injury. So that headspace has changed a bit now. But yes, I definitely experience fear. And I try not to put myself in a position where I almost regret, like putting myself there. Like I want to be in control enough. I want to be on that line. I want to be operating at the upper end of my skill set and not beyond that. Because at that kind of sweet spot, you're like pushing the progression and you're getting better and you're, kind of crawl, walk, run. And I have a habit of just being like, I want to run, and throwing myself into a situation where I'm like, I messed up. This was a mistake. And I don't like feeling like that. So as I've gotten older, I've kind of slowed things down and tried to progress. And sometimes when you're trying to find that line and that sweet spot, it's hard to know what's beyond that. And also, like, there's certain things where there's a risk that can't really be managed. Being in Alaska, skiing these big mountain lines, like, yes, we can dig snow pits. We can do this whole assessment of the snow and the area and get reports. But there is an element of like, you're just dealing with Mother Nature. And sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And of course, there's things you could have done to like not be there. But it's like, there's sort of like an accepted level of like, oh, something really bad could happen. I hope it's not. I'm prepared for the worst, but if this slope slides, it's probably unsurvivable. I don't know. It's
you probably you probably don't analyze it like this, but like, in my previous career as an engineer, like we had to do risk analysis, as boring as it is. And you probably run through stuff so quickly, and people see you skiing in Alaska and they might think it's dangerous. They might just think it's beautiful, but it's like, you check all these things and then you make the decision. You take all that information, you, like you just said, you find the right spots, you read the reports, and then you go, okay, based on this information, I have a good idea of the risk. Do I want to go skiing? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a range. There's certain days where you're like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not leaving the parking lot, I'm going to keep it, very, very chill. And then there's days where like, it's kind of borderline, and you push the level of like the terrain that you're on. And there's days that feel rock solid, and then you get on some really crazy stuff. It's just sort of that like, I think a big part of it is having good people around you that are also like pragmatic and making objective decisions based on the information we have, versus just like, I don't care, I'm going to go get as gnarly as possible, and try to stay away from those people if I can.
I think you've encountered both.
And I'm sure I've been both. I've definitely been in situations when I was like younger where I was just like, screw it. Like, we're here, we're doing it. whatever happens, happens. And I got away with a lot of stuff. So
I want to take a step back. You were talking about Andrew's childhood. And I mean, you shared with me like you didn't love school and you figured out who you are. Like to me, it seemed pretty comfortable. You've, as you were sharing this confidence and taking a trip up to Alaska, you've found a way to have a house. And what would you say to either, childhood Andrew or other kids who might be this type of personality, this like, adrenaline sinking, fidgety, can't sit in a classroom? Like, what would you wish you knew, or what would you wish someone told you?
Yeah, so I actually have kind of a vivid memory of the first time ever doing homework, and it being pretty simple and it being like really traumatic. I was having a super hard time with it. My mom wasn't very nice about it, and I remember crying. And I used to think I was like not smart. I used to think I was dumb. And come to find out, I just don't like reading things that I don't like to read. I'm dyslexic. But I had this belief that I just like wasn't as smart as other kids, which was really hard. But to come to find out, I'm like really good at a lot of stuff, and I'm really good. I'm also a lot better at a lot of people at a lot of things, like just like a general like creative mindset. I'm a hard worker. I'm like decent at like business, and there's all these things that I don't think are like. There's different learning styles, right? Like being in a classroom and sitting down and reading a book and having a teacher dictate things to you. That works for a percentage of people. Some people need to be out there with their hands building it, nitty gritty. Some people need to like absorb the information, teach it to somebody, whatever. There's a million ways to learn. So I think if I could talk to my younger self or, somebody else that maybe struggles with being stuck in a classroom, is just, find the things that you're passionate about, find the things that you enjoy doing. And I think for me, there was several crossroads in my post-high school life where I'm like, man, I should go back to college. I should get a degree. I should do all these things. And I could have done that. I could have, gone down a number of different roads. But because I chose to like really lean into the things I was passionate about and good at and like had a knack for, I've been able to create a much better life. The paths I was considering as far as like how much money I would make, my quality of life, my overall happiness, like those were safe, stable routes, which work for a lot of people. And I'm not trying to take away from that, but I ultimately just like took a bunch of risks, followed my heart. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense on paper. And ultimately I've been able to like create a much better life for myself financially and quality of life wise. So my advice would be to do that if it feels right for you. Chase those things.
Well, thank you for sharing. I think Coco and I both want to give you a big hug.
Oh,
well, we always do.
I ain't no idiot. Tell you what.
Well, I mean, so as you figured that out, what inspired you to start down this path? To start with living in a Gulf. Was there anyone that you were watching, or was it just like, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. I think bringing it back to childhood, I just grew up in a place where I didn't see very many happy adults. And I was like, screw that. I don't mind living on a couch and being a ski bum for as long as I can foresee. And I always saved money. I always lived in literally the cheapest accommodations I could find, whether it was like I lived in a stairwell, not Harry Potter style underneath the stairs, but it was like it was a lot like there was the living room and then a half set of stairs and then a loft, and I lived in the landing. There was like a little area where you would maybe like put a chair and read. I had a sheet tent for it, and I slept literally in my snowboarding bag that was folded open on my clothes in that tent for a season. So anyways, I would just save money for experiences and gear, because like a snowboard was really expensive, new gear. At that point in my life, like buying a snowboard and outerwear was like the biggest investment I would make every 2 years. And so I wanted to climb, I wanted to ski, I wanted to paraglide, I wanted to do all these things, and they're all like super expensive. So I would just live in like a $250 a month accommodation work as much as I could, ski as much as I could, and save money for experiences and gear to go do those things I wanted to do and learn. And now I've got all the gear, and I don't know. And I own a house, but I rent out the upstairs, and I live in the basement. The basement's dope. I'm super happy with it. I fully remodeled it, but still, I really try to limit in my opinion, kind of like frivolous, kind of indulgent expenses, so I can go and do things and take time off and go travel and chase the things that make me happy.
I mean, that's quite poignant to realize at such a young age that I don't want to be like this. I want to seek experiences and things that will make me happy. So it sounds like happiness was a real goal, and you understood that it would take sacrificing certain things. Oh, sounds like our toddler's home.
Mom!
I know, like, oh, I heard the whining. So it's hard to concentrate when that's
You're good.
I feel like I should just
Oh, baby.
Maybe go. We'll take a quick break.
Hold on one moment.
About the fire. Yeah, no problem. No.
You can hear that. She's been feisty this whole time.
Feisty today. Feisty the whole time with the new baby,
No,
or
sorry, I should say just today. It's been like
No.
the past few days. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's expected. Where waves and ebbs and flows, and so it's just like, okay, this is what we deal with. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden she was just like, because there have been days where the nanny.
How old is she now?
She's. Can you hear what she's saying?
No.
She's like, and we forgot the penguins. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the penguins are, but like, so yeah.
How dare you forget the
I'm
penguins?
going to watch. Oh, we can watch the penguins. I think Mom just said, go downstairs and watch a movie.
Perfect.
Yeah. Did you tell him to go downstairs? And
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll settle her for.
She was sad because she wanted to come in and say hi.
I figured. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
Figured that, so.
No, it's okay.
Here we go.
You can
Okay.
come and say hi.
Well, yeah, but then it's like it's not about her coming to see you. It's like then she gets latched on, and then it's
I'll try
getting
to get her.
like emotionally
Right.
latched on, and then it's like, okay, you got to leave, and she's like, I don't want to.
Okay.
get that.
So let's see. We're talking about happiness.
All right. Well, let's just,
Happiness and sacrifice.
Yeah,
and-
happiness and sacrifice, right?
oh my!
Okay.
I'm caught on my hat. That's weird. Okay.
Okay, where was
Well, I mean, we could just ask another question, unless there's something you want to go off of. You want me to lead? Or
Well, I like where it was going because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people
oh yeah,
get caught up. Okay. I'll
I thought it was great.
Start going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like it's quite poignant for little Andrew to see that I see these adults and I don't want to be like that. I want to seek a life of happiness. And what brings me happiness? And that's experiences. And instead of getting caught in this rat race that so many people get caught in, you lived boldly, you lived bravely, and you just said, I need to sacrifice A, B, and C in order to live a life that I want. But I feel like, and me being one person, how did you not listen to what society wanted of you? Like, I think it's so hard to not listen to the noise. And it feels like you do a really good job of being like, I'm going to put the blinders on and go. And like, I know I trust myself. Like, where does that come from?
That's a great question, because my best friend growing up had this amazing family, 3 sisters. They lived on a farm. The mom was a principal of a school, and they kind of looked out for me a little bit. And the mom would, she was like, you really need to go take your SATs. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not. I can't afford to go to college. I've stayed away from debt, which is, I think, a big thing. I obviously have debt now because I own a house, but that's the first real debt I've ever been in. Funny story about taking the SATs is I kind of make this joke because, like, oh, is there SAT course? And I literally showed up kind of late and I couldn't figure out how to get into the building. So I was like, I don't know, I couldn't figure out how to get in the building. So that's my score. But yeah, and I'll circle back to my friend's family. But I don't know. I don't know where that came from. It was just kind of like, screw this. I'm gonna I'm going to do the things that make me happy, at least for a period of time. Life's short, right? Like, if we only get one chance to be here, why would I spend it just like doing this just to do that, just to do that, just to do that? I was like, why don't I like enjoy my youth, chase my passions, see where they go. When I started the Tiny Home Adventure series, I was living in this cool house. I moved out of the bedroom I was in into the garage to save money. I bought a $500 1976 truck camper that was like pretty good bones, but like kind of rotting in some places and really gross. And I just saved enough money to take a 6-month road trip. I was dedicated to 6 months on the road. I was sort of a sponsored snowboarder for Rosignol and a few other companies. So I was making like a little bit of money as an athlete and chasing the things that I loved to do. Definitely not enough to take 6 months to go travel on a truck camper. But my plan or my thought was, if I can just do this for 6 months, like that's a huge success. I would love to be able to perpetuate it, but I'm gonna I've got this idea, everybody just wants to travel, but you got to be able to create value along the way for other people to keep the wheels turning in some capacity, whether it's content or however. Like, that's how life works. So my thought was like, take this 6 months, try to figure out a way to create value. This was before influencer was a term. There were YouTubers. This was like early content creator days, and that's kind of what I just called myself. So anyways, my thought was to, just try to create value for people in the experiences and value for brands, like being integrated into those experiences. And it kind of just worked out. And I remember a few years ago, I was doing really well financially. My best friend also is doing well. And I was having this conversation with his mom, who's the principal, that was like, you gotta go to college, you take your SATs, like do the traditional route, do the safe thing. And they really pushed my friend through that system. Like, he had a lot of parental pressure. I didn't have parents, so I didn't have that pressure, to be honest. And I just remember sitting down with her, and she's like, how are things going? Like, really good. I've got all this stuff going for me. She's like, you could still go to school and become a nurse. And I was like, well, I could do that. But what, like, I've got my thing going. It's going good. I'm making money. I'm happy. It's just like this kind of funny. I don't think she's resentful that I'm doing as well as I am, but I think there's like a little bit of like, I told him to do this one thing.
I think there's also a lot of confusion.
I think it's confusion
in the older generation.
Probably.
There's definitely that, and there's also this. You see people project things in a way to validate their decisions. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know her well. I don't know the situation, but hypothetically, let's just say, like, for her to be like, you're doing great, you made the right decision. Then emotionally, she has to come to terms with the fact that what she was telling you wasn't possibly the right thing. Which sure. both paths could be right. Like, if you would have gone to school and become a nurse, like, could be in the same situation. Who knows? So it's one of those things where you hear it, and I know for the longest time people would always ask us, like, what do you do? How do you make money? Now it's
still doing that travel thing.
You're still doing that travel thing. Well, you have kids. You're not going to travel anymore. I'm like, okay, sure. I'll talk to you guys later.
Right. Yeah. Her intent was for my best interest.
Right. Yes.
And I appreciate
it came from love.
It was just fun. It was fun to be in that position. Honestly, I was like, ha ha.
I made it. Yeah, I believed in myself. I went the path less traveled.
Yeah, we all have someone in our life who looked at us and was like, "You like, no, you need to do this," and you're like, "No, watch me."
Right.
Like, and yep. I want to know during this path, because as you said, now you're doing well and figured you've hacked life. Like, what was a time where Andrew was just not sure of yourself, or like the lowest point? Was there a time where you were just like, I don't know if this is going to work?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like kind of every step of the way, I've taken a little bit bigger bite of risk. So I moved from North Shore, Massachusetts to Utah without knowing anybody. I had met one acquaintance through couchsurfing.com. This is a total tangent story, but I get there, I'm at the Salt Lake City airport. He's supposed to be picking me up, and then I'm moving into my place later that day. And I gotta flip open my flip phone to the person I've got my lease with or whatever, and I get a voicemail saying like, "Hey man, so the place fell through. You don't have a place to live." And I was like, "What?" So I showed up in Salt Lake City with barely $1,000 to my name at 18 years old, and now I don't have a place to live in Park City coming into the ski season. So the friend that was picking me up didn't have a place, and ultimately it all worked out. We don't need to get into the details, although it is a quite funny story. I'll just tell the rest.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm like, how did
really
you
funny.
get a place?
So what was going to happen is he was picking me up at the airport because he was flying out later that day, and he was going to let me borrow his truck for 3 days while I got settled, and I was going to pick him back up, and that was like kind of the agreement. And it was super trusting, really cool. This guy ended up kind of being my Park City guardian angel, Mike Blatt. Shout out to Mike Blatt. Anyways, he's got a friend in Camas, which is like a more rural town about 40 minutes from Park City. I was like, here's his address. He says you can crash for a few nights, no problem. I was like, cool, amazing. So I show up, I knock on the door. I'm standing there for 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm just going to open the door. And I open the door. I'm like, hello. And as I open the door, there's a dude in a towel. He's got a shaved head, a goatee, like flame skull and crossbone, like sleeve tattoos, like the most metal looking dude I've ever seen, like kind of in this fuck stance. And he goes, can I swear on this?
Sure. I mean, you already have, so go ahead.
Yeah. Well, small swears. He goes, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, 18 years old. I'm like, I'm Andrew. I'm friends with the guy that lives here, or a friend of a guy that lives here. And he's like, oh, cool. Come on in. I was like, yeah, I don't have a place to live. He's like, sweet, we got a couch. Like, ended up being great. Gave me a pair of skis. Like, totally got me set up. But it's been this roller coaster. So that was like the first big risk was moving somewhere where I didn't know anybody. I mean, I had never been further west than New York before I moved to Utah. You know, I'd only
like. Did you have a plan B? Like, if I mean, I guess you didn't expect to not have a place to live. That's kind of like
no, I didn't have a plan B. It ultimately worked out. I mean, I was pissed, and the guy gave me my deposit back and apologized. And, you know, I called him up. I was like, when did you know about this? Because he was supposed to help me, like, get a mattress and move in. Like, there's this whole plan of, like, the following days. And he was just like, oh, like, Wednesday, but I was trying to figure it out with the bank. I thought I could get it sorted. Sorry, man. I'm like, he couldn't let me know before I, like, landed here. Which, it's kind of nice that it happened the way that it did, because it ultimately worked out. But it hasn't been, like, a straight, you know, trajectory towards, like, where I'm at now. But kind of to answer your question is, like, every couple years I've just, like, bit off, like, a little bit more risk. You know, I started moving to Utah and trying to make that work, and then I tried the Tiny Home Adventure season 1 with the truck camper, and then that had its highs and lows, as you both know. And then ultimately I tried to build a earth roamer from scratch, basically from the frame of the truck up, bought an old work truck, pulled the bed of it off, and then this project ended up being like more than 10x what I had expected time-wise, financially, just a total ass kicking. And I got through it, and I got it done.
It took you 2 years, right?
It took me 2 years. I thought it was going to take me 3 months. And it took me 2 years. Yeah. And
this is the theme of Andrew's life.
Totally. I'm like a delusional optimist with how long I think something like a big project is going to take and how much work and sacrifice it's going to require. But then on the tail end of it, I've like learned so much. I've grown so much. I've grown my wealth or whatever, however you want to quantify that.
I mean, you also just had a recent like project that you thought was going to take like half a day, and it took like 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah. I haven't learned. And every time I take something on, I'm like, Andrew, be realistic. You know, this happens every time. And I still do it every time.
But you're also in love with the work. Like, you fell in love with the work, and you know it takes work to get this stuff done.
Totally. Yeah. Like I love the results. I love working with my hands, seeing something go from an idea to a finished product. Um, and yeah, I've just sort of the equation for me in general, like a kind of a just life mantra has been, you know, work hard. What is it? I haven't said it in a long time. Like, okay, take risk, work hard, and be nice to people along the way. You know what I mean? Be a reliable, good person, be kind. Like, if you work hard, you take a little bit of risk, and you're nice to people, like, that's a pretty good recipe for success.
That's a good life.
And I've done that on, like, every time I've on, like, a larger and larger scale, I hope. And so, yeah, now I just have, like, the confidence to, like, take on big projects, and I am fully aware that I'm delusional as to like how much work it will probably be. I like see the, you know, the easiest path forward, and it's of course never that easy, but yeah, it's worked out.
It's like rose-colored delusion glasses.
Yeah, delusional optimist.
I love that.
Which has worked out for me. Yeah.
But during this journey, where did that confidence like stem from?
Well, it started small.
Yeah.
You know, it started with moving to Salt Lake City or Park City, and then having the carpet pulled out from underneath me and being able to get my feet back underneath me and, okay, figure out, you know, chisel out my life. And I'm like, maybe I'll, you know, take a 6-month road trip. And then, of course, like my car accident happened. And that was, you know, put me flat on my face as probably the most rock bottom of my entire life. I don't really want to like dive into it too much here, but yeah. And then people kind of, you know, came and helped elevate me and get back on my feet. And then it just sort of like kept taking steps forward. And then, you know, it just kind of has done this, you know, classic little chart of life, hopefully.
You bring up a topic that has come up for us before. When it comes to solo travel, there seems to be such a community that is built, and solo travel tends to be social. And it's like on the surface you would think, no, it's just about like the solo journey, and it is, and you make these awesome friends along the way. And you've mentioned your community earlier in this podcast. Like, how do you recommend doing that? How did you find friends along the way? How did you find like-minded people that you can join on these adventures?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I've done a fair amount of solo travel, and, you know, it's always a little scary. You're worried about like being lonely or lost or people or like weird interactions. And I find like, you know, these places that we go to, the other like-minded people are sort of attracted to as well. So you find yourself in the middle of nowhere or whatever it is that you're finding or looking for or searching for, or the place that you want to be. And just so happens somebody else has that same mindset. And all of a sudden, you know, 15 minutes later, you're best friends and you're making dinner together. Like I've had crazy experiences, like really, really remote, and just like instantaneously had like an incredible connection with folks, you guys included.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think the beautiful thing about travel is that no one cares what school you went to, what you did in school, all that stuff. It's like you just show up as yourself. And when you meet that person, it's like, not to sound too sappy, but it's like you're just meeting someone's soul, and you're not worried about the resume. And when you vibe with someone, you just vibe with someone. And we met Andrew, it was like 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
In Oregon.
I think about, I mean, just through we have hung out with legitimate billionaires to, you know, people just living off a few bucks a day. And the experience, the interactions weren't different, you know. Yeah, one was the co-creator of Def Jam Records, I believe. And, you know, just happened to
Smoking cigars in Cartagena.
Smoking cigars in Cartagena,
Nice.
telling stories, relating as humans relate. And,
Yeah.
you know, I also flash back to like, I forget their names, the Australian couple that when we were in like an RV through Alaska, and they were similar thing. And like, we just connected over a fire, and the guy brought out
Sick.
a guitar,
Yeah.
and the dude was awesome. Actually, he had a guitar. He starts playing with that, and then he's like, "Oh, you guys mind if I bring out my didgeridoo?" And we're like, "Absolutely!" And he had a stand. The guy played a full concert, singing, playing his guitar, singing into the didgeridoo, so
At the end of the Homer spit.
at the end of the Homer spit next to
amazing. Yeah.
after having some duck fart shots. So that was, you have that stuff. And you're right. As you travel, as you put yourself out there, I think everyone's vulnerable. Everyone's a little bit, naked in some way. And it doesn't really matter. Like you said, be nice, like take some risk. If you show up and you're like, hey, I've got some hamburgers to cook and I've got this, like, it goes a long way. I can play the guitar. Like you have a good jam. And that's all that people are looking for.
Absolutely. So the story I'm thinking of, and it's a great lead in with this character. I was in Kauai in the Nepali coast, all the way out. I forget the name of it at this point in my life.
Here, Coco's going to go get, but you go ahead and I'll stay here and
okay.
We'll talk about this.
The tiny one.
Yeah.
What was I?
You went to Kauai.
Kauai, Nepali coast. What do they call that area? At the end of the Nepali coast trail. Kalalau.
Okay.
I'm out at Kalalau. I'm by myself. I'm walking down the beach. I see this dude. He's walking towards me, and we both go aloha at the same time. Because we're Hawaiian, bro. And we both go, "What's your name?" at the same time. We're like literally talking over each other. Aloha. What's your name? And I pause, and he goes, "I'm Andrew." I'm like, "You're Andrew. I'm Andrew." And I'm like, I had just like washed my dishes in the ocean, and he's got a guitar with him. I'm like, "Hey man, I'm about to make some dinner if you want to join me." He's like, "Sure." And this dude and I, like, I've never had a friendship that was like so immediately aligned. Eventually we found like another guitar and we just started playing together. And at this point, we're both solo travelers. At this point, we're at a camp with maybe like 8 people sharing campfires, just making food, and we're just playing. And it's just like this seamless jam session. And people are like, "You guys like literally just met?" And we were like immediately just like so tight. I've had, that's like the top tier experience like that. Oh, there's Summit. So yeah, it's just, it's so fun to be in those situations. And like when you are solo traveling, I find that there are moments of loneliness. But then there's also those moments of like deep connection and closeness and like serendipitous. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, we've had moments where one interesting thing was we were in Italy, and we had basically they were our neighbors who we weren't really close with. We knew them, and they're like, "Hey, Colette," and then we hung out with them for the next 3 days, and then became best friends. I mean, when it comes to traveling with a dog, like, do you have any tips for people who are like, I'm thinking of travel with my dog, or like, I can't travel without my dog.
Or because I have a dog.
Or because I have a dog. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you have to say to those people?
Yeah, I mean, having a dog is a lot of responsibility, and it definitely changes the dynamic of like where you can go. You can't really do a whole lot in national parks with most dogs, Let
me adjust the camera.
Sure.
Okay. There we go.
So that's a big part of it, is like just figuring out places that allow dogs. For me, that's great. I would much rather be off the beaten path, away from the crowds, exploring somewhere new, and in a place where my dog can kind of run off leash and be a dog and be happy. And also you can't leave dogs in cars. Like there's a lot of things to consider. But I just love giving my dog the best life I can imagine. And so for me, the compromise of, not going to certain places or making sure whatever I'm doing is dog friendly, at least, my kind of dog friendly. Then yeah, it's great. I mean, I highly recommend doing it. Like, solo traveling is great, but shared experience has there's just a little bit more to a shared experience, and especially when you're sharing it with a dog that you love and that loves you, and it's just great. I love it. Kicker is like, I feel like he has crowds follow him whenever he goes out. Have you had issues with that? Like people recognizing him or Never an issue.
Never an issue.
No. I mean, mostly just my ego getting hurt when people are like, "Oh my God, is that Kicker?" And they give him some love, and then they walk away, and I'm just like,
"Where are my pets?"
Bye.
Kicker's a dad now, isn't he?
He is a dad. He has a litter of puppies out in the world. I wanted to take one of his sons, but I just wasn't in the place to give two dogs the best life I could possibly imagine. Just a lot going on with the house. There's a little bit of chaos. So his son is going to be coming of breeding age here in the next couple months. And when the time is right, when he procreates, we'll be taking Kicker's grandson, because my life's a little bit more stable. The house is like pretty much done, just little odd end projects as houses always have. But yeah, kind of gearing up for Kicker to have his grandson on the road.
Wow, and you're going to be a great grandfather.
Oh my goodness! Like, who knew? Who knew?
The dog father.
The dog
The
father.
dog father. Come sit down. Let's talk.
I have a question for you, and it's very random, but you've slept in a lot of places around the world. Where's the strangest place you've ever slept?
I mean, strange. That's so subjective.
It is subjective. It probably won't be strange to you. Maybe.
Yeah, I've got. So when I went to Kauai, circle back to Kauai, I was 19. I had never been anywhere tropical. Same thing. I had like barely $1,000 to my name, so I had a one-person little tent and a backpack, and that was kind of it. And I'd spent more time than you're supposed to in the Nepali coast. I spent like 15 days out there, and then went to the opposite end of the island to Polahale, and I was just hitchhiking my way back towards the airport. So I was there for 2 months in total. And I get to the spot. This guy picks me up, drops me off. I get kicked out of this one beach. And then this local Hawaiian dude drops me off in I think, Poipu, wherever the 5-star Hyatt and whatever. There's like 2 5-star resorts right next to each other at Shipwrecks Beach.
Yep.
And he drops me off there, and that was the one place I was like trying to avoid. Like my whole I don't know, ethos, if that's the right term, but it's just like being off the beaten path, away from those people having those 5-star experiences, which isn't you guys. I know that you guys have those experiences, but we'll let you slide. And I end up on this beach. It's in between the 2 5-star resorts, and there's like an abandoned coconut plantation and some like paths through there. So I'm literally just at nighttime like sleeping in the woods. And I just remember, and I think it was like perfect weather out, so I didn't even have my tent up. And I just remember like hearing something as I was waking up, and it was people walking the trail. And I like sat up and was like stretching out. I'm like, oh my God, and like ran. So I was just like sleeping in the woods behind these 2 5-star resorts, and I scared the crap out of some people. So that's the first one that comes to mind.
People thought you were just a homeless guy.
They thought I was a daywalker or something. I don't know. They freaked out.
I can just imagine that, and Andrew being like, "What's wrong?" And then I can also see the view of that couple who probably was like, "Come on, honey, let's go for a walk and get our coffee." And backpacker Andrew is there to scare him.
There's like leaves on my forehead that had fallen, like sit up out of the nowhere, like what the hell? I thought it was so. I wake up. When I was in Hawaii, I woke up in like such a great mood. I was like, and I see people just like running. I'm just like so content.
Take cover.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in, like I was saying earlier, I've lived on a futon in a garage before, stairwell. Strangest place in the world. I don't know. I've had a lot of really cold nights. Like I've shot some time lapses up by Mount Hood and just was ill prepared and froze my butt off all night, just waiting for the sun. Just like, oh God, it's way colder than I expected it to be. I have the weirdest place, and I don't think anybody else has slept here. And Scott, we should go do this climb at some point.
Oh no.
So Ancient Art, just really famous spire in Moab. You can climb up it before, I think it's like there's kind of these 2 half pitches. It's basically one pitch before like the last final thing. There's a ledge that I slept there once, and then another time I wanted to shoot a time lapse of the Milky Way behind the like very top candlestick. So it's essentially a 400-foot drop, basically 360 degrees, and this pillar, this belay station, is like definitely not 5 feet by 5 feet. And so I'm like tied in. My partner's sleeping on the ledge below. I've got my camera set up to shoot this time lapse, and I just like curled up with my sleeping bag all night, right next to, you know, it was, yeah, one, you couldn't roll either direction, but I was tied in, so it wasn't that scary.
Wow. With all these adventurous things, is there anyone out there who inspires you, who you think like who makes you scared?
You know, it's so weird. I really haven't been somebody that has ever had like idols or people that like really inspire me that are like famous or notable. I've met a few people along the way that I'm like, you are adventure Jesus. Um, there's this one guy, Ty Verzone. He lives in Alaska. Couldn't be nicer. And the things he does on the daily, like he'll pack up his paraglider and a pack raft, take off somewhere, cross country paraglide, so he'll fly thermals however far, 100 miles into like deep Alaskan wilderness, and then first descend rivers in a pack raft. He'll use his paraglider as his tent and blanket. He's crazy. And he's so nonchalant. He doesn't have to do like a big social media presence, but like just something about people that are like out there for like the true adventure of it. And I've done some contrived, you know, Instagram bullshit where I'm like, I'm just going to go to the place that, you know, it's not my favorite, of course, but somebody that's like actually just like out there getting it, doing the thing. Like those people are my like most inspiring.
You bring up a good like topic, which is like, how do you balance that, the idea of like, you're an adventurer, you just want to explore, but also how do you not exploit these areas just for financial gain or, you know, clout?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And I also never really look at it like I'm trying to exploit a place. I don't geotag. I want people to have their own adventure. You know, I think a lot of these places have gotten just like so blown out, overshot, over-explained. So like it takes away from the adventure. You know, it's like, oh, you go here, you do this. It's all laid out for you. For me, part of it is like figuring it out, finding the spot, stumbling. Like my favorite is going somewhere new where I have no idea and finding something that's just like spectacular, you know, which happens occasionally, not always. So yeah, I really don't feel like I exploit places. You know,
I hate to put that word that you're exploiting, but I mean just
yeah.
how do
No,
you
I know what you're
balance it?
saying. I don't. I feel like I mindfully try not to like, yeah, do that. You know, that's not really my approach.
Well, not geotagging is a big deal.
Yeah, not geotagging.
Yeah,
And
not
also you're in
geotagging.
areas where it's like you just described your place sleeping and you're like, I want to get this time lapse. Like most people aren't going to line up to go do that. One, they don't
No.
have the technical or, you know, even the equipment to do it. So it's, some of it is you're in this echelon of people aren't going to do that. And I see it too. Like there's, yeah, we've seen it too. I mean, I think our style has changed a little bit. We used to be more in that like, look at us. And now it's like the just raw authenticity. And I think that's what a lot of people want to see. Mm-hmm. But we've also had, you know, just recently some content that we have shared, and it's not like it's about a whole town. It's not like this one spot, but people are like, stop sharing that town. And so it's interesting. I mean, you know, it's, how do you, it's, there's no right answer because we all have that like club, that last one in mentality. Like, you know, you want to be the last one to find out about something.
Right. Oh, totally. I kind of disagree with that headspace, and of course there are places that have gotten absolutely ruined because of social media and whatever. But it's inevitable. Like unfortunately, like information travels so fast. These places are so special and spectacular. We're not the only people that want to like go and experience and like do that thing. So to say that like you have any more right to it over somebody else is absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. I mean, be respectful, be there, tread lightly, whatever, best practices. Try not to take away from other people's experiences if there's a crowd, but like I think that mentality is selfish and shitty, and those people like whatever.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think the world is to be shared, and like, sure, no one wants the hidden gem, but I mean, it was hidden for you, maybe not for other people, to be the next Santorini where it's like there's just too many tourists, there's cruise ships pulling up. Like, of course, no one wants that, but it's everybody's responsibility, right? Like, you have to be a responsible tourist. We had a whole podcast actually about this, like over tourism and White Lotus effect that is transpiring around the world. It's tricky. It really is.
Italy has protests, like anti-tourist protests.
Same with Spain.
I'm sorry, is it just Spain? I know Spain does.
It's definitely Spain, yeah.
Yeah, they're protesting because there's just too many tourists.
I mean, if the infrastructure can't support it, at a certain
Right.
point, you have to like limit it, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But to be somebody commenting on YouTube like, yeah, you shouldn't be here. I don't know. It's obviously like a really nuanced situation, place by place, and yeah, it's an ever evolving issue. But yeah.
I mean, and also like your hero's journey when you're creating this content is about like the adventure of getting to this place or enjoying this beautiful landscape. I wouldn't say it's like just as destination focused as it is about like the adventure, the journey of the adventure.
Yeah, I try to keep away from like just being a specific destination because it is, the experience, the activity, the adventure, kind of the shenanigans that happen along the way.
Do you have any adventures on your to-do list anytime soon?
One bucket list item, which I don't know if I'll get to for a number of reasons, but I think it would be really cool, and it's been done a lot, and it's also illegal. But free solo the Snake Dike route up Half Dome, which is basically like the easiest way to climb Half Dome. It's this kind of slabby, little ridge that you can go up that you don't have to go up the chains. So free solo that, and then base jump off the diving board. I think that.
I was like, what part's illegal? Okay, the base jumping off.
The base jumping in the national park.
This is at Yosemite National Park, everybody.
This would be at Yosemite, yeah. It's set up so perfect. Like, it's this undercut, perfect diving board, like 4,000 feet of air, maybe more. Like, some things are just too perfect not to go and try.
I'm assuming it's been done before, right?
Oh yeah, it probably gets done a lot more frequently than you would imagine. Yeah.
They do it like probably sunset or sunrise.
Sunset, sunrise. I mean, Yosemite's hip to it. They've got like spotters and people, and it's quite a big deal if you get caught. And there's been some people, there's a story of a guy that like was running from the Park Service and got caught in a river and drowned. So it's an ever evolving dynamic situation, and maybe someday they'll open it up for like, I think they did an event once at Yosemite where it was allowed and somebody died in front of a crowd. It's messy. So I don't know, that one would be cool. It would be cool to go to space. I don't know.
Well, there have been times where I see you doing stuff and I'm like, Andrew, you're making me nervous. Like, like chill out just a little bit, but I don't think you ever will.
I don't know. It's dynamic. It depends on the day, depends on the activity. If it's something I'm super comfortable with, like, of course that line gets further from the norm, but yeah, it just depends. Slowing down a little bit,
Well,
getting older.
There's so many things we haven't touched on, but where can people find, do you have something else, sweetie? Oh, you leaned in like you were going to say something. Where can people find your work?
Instagram at Andrew__Muse. I don't know why there's 2 underscores. That's just what it is. On YouTube, I think it's just Andrew Muse. I would say the best example of my work is like Tiny Home Adventure season 1, 2, and 3.
And your photography.
And my photography, yeah. I feel like I take some pretty cool photos. So like, yeah, Instagram's probably the best place.
And what's Kicker's handle?
Kicker's is at KickerDogMuse. And that's all dog stuff. A lot of my feed is dog stuff, just, I think it's hard for me because I like so many things. I like the adventure things, I like the travel, like landscape photography, I love dog stuff. So I'm kind of all over the place. Just depends on what you like.
Yeah, but if people, because you do showcase your photography, isn't that on andrewmuse.com?
andrewmuse.com, yeah.
Okay.
I just redid my website. I don't know if people use websites anymore.
Sure they do.
Yeah, sure they do.
Yeah.
The AI right.
Go to my website. I've got prints for sale. Anything you see on my Instagram that you like, you can purchase as well.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you for
guys.
sharing your stories.
Yes.
Oh, I could talk to you guys forever.
We will. We'll probably keep talking after we
Probably keep talking.
wrap up.
All right.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're learning from and or enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. These are great free ways to support this podcast. Also, please subscribe to this podcast on both Spotify and Apple. On both of those platforms, you can leave us up to a 5-star review, which would help us out greatly. Please also check out the sponsors mentioned in today's episode. That's the best way to support this show. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please put those in the comment sections in YouTube. And yes, we do read all the comments.